All right, what is up, everybody? Shadow Scout 0013 here, reporting in for another unit breakdown and or just like a unit guide to just kind of help people through this, talking about Emperor Palpatine and just kind of go over maybe a few different lists and maybe kind of talk about some things that I think he's good at, some ways to play him, and what things I don't think go well. I mean, this is just my opinion and my experience. So if you have different experience, definitely let me know and put it in the comments down below. Because again, I've only played against him once and it didn't quite go well because it was against someone who didn't quite know how to use him very well or how to play the game, all that matter. So, and then I've kind of played him, but again, it's just I can only tell you what I think. So we'll go over him and kind of a few different lists, like I said. But if you haven't already, go ahead and head to the Discord and be a member. And it's free, it's easy, and you can chime in, do whatever you want. We can keep talking about CIS lists. We've had some people who talked about some stuff and submitted lists that they want some input on, which is always fun. And usually whenever I'm looking at lists and that people want to talk about or submit, then I just kind of see to make sure that maybe something's not like an upgrade that doesn't really need to be there, and I kind of just bring up why. But for the most part, I'm not gonna talk about what units you have in there or not, because that's just your choice. That's either the units you have or that's just what you like. And I'm with lists that you like, if you have them on here, like I said, the only thing I can really comment is just maybe that upgrade would go better here or not so much, or maybe if you alternated and had more activations, stuff like that. Because again, everyone plays different and everyone has their own play style and likes the units they like. And I want to support that and support everyone's decision with the people they like, because I'm very biased towards Iden. I like her a lot, and Boba Fett, and then Vader. But not everyone likes Boba Fett, and everyone's really afraid of Iden, and I like her, just not, yeah. So my opinion. And then if you haven't already, you can head to theburnacademy.com and pay $15 a month to get 12-week workout programs for building muscle, losing weight, corrective exercise programs, my personal workout stuff, abs, coaching videos about dieting and meal plans and stuff. So it's a lot of fun. It's just kind of having a little, trainer in your pocket, and it's nice to have. And working out is definitely beneficial for you no matter what. And if you have to, lean over tables all day, you're going to want to protect your back and your posture. All right. So let's talk about Emperor Palpatine, shall we? Okay, so he's actually been, reduced. So he's only 190 points versus the initial 210, which is great. I also think he still needs to come down quite a lot, though, still. His command cards are good, yes, but at the same time, it a little bit lower, in my opinion, would be great. Or maybe add something to this. But here we go. So he's got pulling the strings, which is an action you can use once. So you choose a friendly trooper unit at range 1 to 2, and then that unit may perform a free attack action or move action. So if you were to, have your Imperial Royal Guard, your IRG, and you decided to pull the strings on them, they could do that free move action, and then charge is initiated with that, from what I have seen and for how I've played. And then, or you could just have them shoot. You can't have them aim, but it's just a free attack action. So they could shoot. If they already have an aim, then that's great. If it's Bosk or maybe someone else in the back that, has Hunter, and then you do a free attack action, you're attacking them, you're going to gain an aim for that attack because you're attacking someone who's wounded. So there's benefits to pulling the strings. And I just think Palpatine, that's the biggest thing that he can do, is allow someone else to do another attack action each turn that you have him, that, range 1 to 2 of him. So snipers are really good. Bosk is really good. Anything range 4 or 5 is perfect, because then you just get that extra shot off. And it's nice. And then if maybe you're in a predicament where your enemy is getting close, hopefully pulling the strings on the IRG to maybe do another attack. Maybe they're already engaged in melee, and then maybe you do pull the strings and, let them attack again. So that's always nice. Pulling the strings is really, really awesome on him. It's just like Yoda, but Yoda is guidance, so it only is a free move action. But, yeah. All right, and then Entourage. So the IRG. So while building an army, ignore the rank of an Imperial unit or an IRG unit. During the command phase, you can issue an order to that friendly IRG unit at range 1 to 2. So at range 1 to 2, it's perfect because it fits in with pulling the strings in case you do need that time to where you have to pull the strings on your Imperial Roller Guard when they can have an order out already. So that's fantastic. There's no way to put, a comms relay on them like you can on Death Troopers to kind of relay that order, but it's nice to have, especially with Palpatine, to have the IRG ready to go. He's immune to Pierce, so you don't have to worry about snipers getting that Pierce on him, or any of the bounty hunters getting Pierce on him. That's really, really nice. And then he's got Master of the Force too, which is fantastic. He's got 3 slots. And with Palpatine, depending on how you want to play him, there's lots of cool ways to do this. He's got a ranged and melee. So from melee to range 2, he's got basically a double rainbow, which is really, really nice. It's Pierce 2 and suppressive, which is awesome because, if you had Anakin going up against you and, you decided to hit him with your attack, it is suppressive in melee. So then, hopefully if he's already gone and has some suppression and can't get it off, and this is extra suppressive at the end of the turn, he'd be able to take one off. Well, he still has one due to hopefully, if he had more than one suppression when you engage him. But, yeah, there we go. Or since it's suppressive, you do a ranged attack against Anakin. He can take off one at the end of the round, but then he's got one more. You wouldn't be able to give him an order. Yeah, so there's lots of good ways with suppression that you can do. And I mean, obviously, suppressive is always nice. He does surge to crit for offense and defense for defense. And then he's got 5 health, 4 courage, which is really, really nice. So it's going to take 8 suppression to have him panic. And then he's got red dice. So it's really nice. And then he also has a, command slot that we can do with what we want. So depending really on how you want to play him, there's lots of different things that you can put on him. But before we do, let's go ahead and look at some of his command cards. And that way, one, don't forget, and 2, kind of you can make decisions based on that. So let's look at Now You Will Die. And I'm not a really good Palpatine list, but Now You Will Die. Ugh. All right, so during Emperor Palpatine's activation, he may suffer a wound and gain 1 suppression token to perform an attack. He may do this any number of times. And then after Emperor Palpatine performs an attack, the defender gains an immobilized token. So if you did, 3 attacks, that's 3 different immobilized tokens, but that's 3 suppression on you, which is good because you got courage 4, it doesn't matter. And then this is also why you might want some medics in your list big time, because if he even goes out and gets 1 to 2 wounds before you can even use this attack, you've diminished this card's ability to dish out however many attacks as possible. So imagine this as like Vader's 1 pip where he can attack twice, have 2 turns, or Luke's Skywalker's where he can attack twice. Iden can get a standby and attack twice with their 1 pip. Boss can attack twice with his 2 pip. So there's a lot of people who can attack more than once, but this one can attack multiple times, which is great every time you take a wound, but you're also going to give yourself a suppression. So the more wounds he has, the less, you're going to want to use this card, and you really, really want to use this card, especially when the time comes. So with that, a lot of people will put anger. So after you suffer 1 or more wounds, you gain an aim token. So that way you can just attack, and always have an aim, And it's a double rainbow. You're probably going to really want to use that aim. So, and it's only 3 points. So that's awesome to have, especially when you're gearing up and preparing him the whole game to use that attack, and then hopefully still be able to heal him as much as possible. Now let's look at his 2 pip. Give in to your anger. So it's just him again. But, if you wanted to, you can have battle meditation. So that way, instead of, giving him that order, you can give it to someone else on the battlefield anywhere. And it doesn't matter, where that person is, because it doesn't say, it just says unit on the battlefield. So that is really, really nice. So anger and battle meditation would be fantastic. And then so before an opponent would activate their first unit, you may choose an enemy trooper unit. And if you do, your opponent must activate that unit instead. Assign an order token from the order pool, unless it already has a face-up order token. And then at the end of that unit's activation, if it did not perform an attack, it gains 4 suppression tokens. So basically you would just, if you started out with this card very first turn, then you would choose probably a core unit in the very, very back, or maybe, yeah, a core unit's got courage 1, who probably has no range to anything. They'll gain 4 suppression at the end of their turn if they don't do an attack. So you want to choose not a commander unit that's got the 4 to infinity, because maybe they played the 4 to infinity that turn, or you know maybe they're already in range to do some sort of attack. You wouldn't want to use this. So it's kind of best to use this in like first round when you're super far away, and declare a unit that cannot attack. Now, if you used it on the second round, sure, but you just got to figure out, what units there really, really are. Maybe with the Black Sun, they're only really range 1 to 2. So maybe you go ahead and say that you would like to have their Black Sun activate, and if they don't do anything, they just move. They're going to try to move away from the board, but they're going to gain 4 suppression, and then at the end of the turn, they'll take away 1. No, that's at the end of their. So at the end of the round, they'll take away 1 and be left with 3 for the next round. So hopefully they'll wind up, panicking on the next go round. So that's just an easy way to kind of give out some suppression to someone very, very far away. And then an entire legion is his other one. So this is each eligible unit. So everyone that's around range 1 to 3 of him is going to get an order. Now, there's a way that you can make that longer by using commanding presence and issuing orders range 1 to 4. You could do that as well. And then, I haven't tried it or thought about it, but if you did have battle meditation, so when you're issuing orders, use a command card, you can choose one of those orders to any friendly unit. So if you are, since you already have battle meditation, and if you had 1 or 2 units that were not in range, you could take the 1 unit that's out of range, give it an order, and then put Palpatine's back in the bag. That'd be nice, or whoever's back in the bag, just so that you can pull that whenever you want. But yeah, so that's all of his. But yeah, it's each eligible unit that's in range 1 to 3. That's really, really, really nice. So we have that. So based on those command cards, and based on how they kind of maybe want to be used, probably anger, battle meditation, and then force barrier wouldn't be bad. Okay. And then kind of move him in. You're protecting your royal guard. Your royal guard could probably protect you. This unit is not going to count towards your 3 other special forces that you can add. So, you want your electro staff guard. You could go with protector to really make sure, since you don't have, force reflexes, that you're going to be able to just cancel crits. And then, when the IRG are, targeted, you can use force barrier. And then maybe you go with Emperor Palpatine, you move up, you do whatever you can, and then you recover force barrier. That's possible. Now you can, maybe you don't want anger and you would rather have maybe force guidance. You can choose up to 2 friendly units at range 1 to 2, and each chosen unit gains a surge. So you could go with that and do that. And you're going to be able to recover 2 because he's master of the force 2. So you'll be able to recover force guidance and force barrier every time. So you're always giving out 2 extra surge tokens, maybe to your royal guard, who can use those surge tokens because they don't surge at all. See, they don't surge. They've at least got 2 health each, 2 courage. They're not quite as good as the Magna Guard, in my opinion, but they're still good. They can Guardian 2 off any trooper unit. So it's not necessarily like the Magna Guard where you can only Guardian off a commander. This one, if you really wanted to keep alive Callus, or if you wanted to keep alive Iden, the IRG would do really well. If you wanted to keep alive Vader, it doesn't matter who it is, operative or commander. And then discipline 2. So when you're issued an order, you may remove up to 2 suppression tokens and then charge. So with Emperor Palpatine being able to consistently give them an order at range 1 to 2, they can always take off those 2 suppression tokens before they even have to start. And they're probably, with going to be getting shot at a lot. And then you could also use your force barrier. They're probably going to gain a ton of suppression because they're probably going to be trying to get shot at the most in some ways, if not, Palpatine himself. If Palpatine you keep behind line of sight cover, then yeah, it's mostly probably going to be the IRG. And yeah, so there's lots of things that you can do with helping them. And they've got, ways of being able to do protector and tenacity. So that way, when you do take a wound, you do have everything possible. If you really, really want to deck them out, you can go with environmental gear to make sure they're not going they can go over everything. That's just so many points for just 2 activations. So if you had to, just to make sure that, and you don't have to go with force guidance either. If maybe he's only speed 1, which kind of sucks, so he's not going to be moving anywhere, you could go with burst of speed, so that way you can really get into that range 1 to 2 and use that his 1 pip kind of early as possible. So that's a way to do it. And then with burst of speed, keep battle meditation, keep force barrier. That'd be awesome. You don't get anger in there. You know, maybe because with battle meditation also, I forgot to mention. So when you're issuing orders, use command cards, it can only be a command card. You cannot do battle meditation on the IRG. So you can't just always give out the order on the IRG and then use battle meditation to give that to someone else, because it's not coming from a command card. It's coming from Palpatine himself. So just a side note on that. With Palpatine, right now, he doesn't have any dodges unless we're going to put any on him, in which vigilance would be good. Strict orders would be nice because, with his 3 pip, he's giving it to everybody. With the other 3 pip, it's going to give it to 3 units. And then, you're always giving 1 to the IRG. And so they'll basically never have suppression on them if you go with that. You could go with lead by example, but you don't really have to. He's courage 4. So for the most part, anyone within range 1 to 3 of him is always going to be able to get those 2 actions. Or sorry, 1 action, but they won't panic. And then inspiring presence. So if you wanted your courage 4 to be at range 1 to 4, inspiring presence would also be good. Improvised orders would also be good. Esteemed leader would be really good. Commanding presence would, you name it, pretty much every one of these would be great on Palpatine. Underworld connections, maybe, sure, who knows? But yeah, it just depends on what your strategy really is. And I'm not going to put one on there yet because I'm just going to show a few other ones. And so let me kind of go over maybe just a few of the lists that I've kind of built, and I'll go over one more. So one was just Palpatine by himself, and it was just Palpatine, IRG. I put inspiring presence on him just because battle meditation, force barrier, and force guidance. I had just the electro staff on the royal guards. I have a full, shore trooper with the T-21B. So 5 minis in there with medical droid. So 2 medical droid units to make sure that you're keeping the IRG and or Palpatine alive as much as you can. You have your 2 mortars with that. And then you've got 4 snipers. You've got 3 strike teams, and you've got Del Mico on the snowtroopers, giving you 4 snipers that you can keep around Palpatine for him to use pull the strings. So that's why I want as many long range things as possible to keep as many people away from Palpatine as I can. So this is kind of like the range 5 gun line that I'm trying to use to keep a long range threat and to have Palpatine, keep going. And that's 4 units with Pierce that he can also use pull the strings for a 5th sniper shot. So really in one round, you should be able to hopefully get off 5 sniper shots if you can use Palpatine to, the fullest extent with the snipers. And then you've got range 4 with at least both short troopers and the mortars. So at least what? So that's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 units at range 1 to 4 minimum with their heavies. So you've got a pretty good buffer before Palpatine gets in there, and he's just using force barrier and force guidance to give either the strike teams the surge token. So that way, when you also use pull the strings, if they've already, spent an aim, you can use that surge token just in case he gets a surge, and or use that on the Royal Guard as well, and make sure the Royal Guard have something for defense, maybe offense. This is exactly 800 points. You might not need inspiring presence. Maybe you want to take that off and put something else on. You can do that. But yeah, it's just, I've got medical droids, 2 of them at least, and it's 10 activations, 800 points flat. It's kind of a slow moving list because you still have at least 1 snowtrooper. Your Palpatine's going to be really slow. Short troopers are going to probably be moving and taking a shot or whatever they can. But with the shore troopers, if you're able to, give orders to the shore troopers consistently, they're getting aims. So maybe use battle meditation with the 2-pip, because it doesn't say after or before Palpatine does anything. It just says before an opponent would activate. So if you use battle meditation, instead of giving it to Palpatine, just give it to one of your shore troopers, and your IRG is already going to have an order. And then the shore troopers would gain an aim, and then they might be able to coordinate to the mortar. And boom. So there you go. That's easy to do. And then at least with an entire legion, if you're giving it to everybody, they're going to get another aim. And then with maybe coordinated fire, you give it as well to both shores and snow. Both of them get an aim. You can hopefully coordinate to the mortar if they're close enough. If it's fast, if you use this early enough, I should say, they might not be. And then at least you give it to your snows. They don't get an aim, but at least you have it. And then you have some on the IRG. Boom. I mean, there's lots of ways to hopefully get stuff with this list, and I like it. I'm going to leave this one in, the description down below. Seems like a simple list with me, but everything is decked out. It's 10 activations with Palpatine, and you have a heavy on every single unit. So I like that a lot. The other list that I made with Palpatine, I made one with a lat. I didn't save it because I don't think you would have made the best use of pulling the strings, because you can't use that while you're in, a covered transport. So, but you can, if you want to drop Palpatine off, sure, why not? But I don't see why you would want to do that. But some people might. Hey, so here's another one with Cad Bane. So Palpatine, 10 activation, 799. Force barrier, force guidance still, and burst of speed to make sure he gets in as fast as possible. He's got vigilance because I think that I put portable scanners at least on a stormtrooper. I've got, naked stormtroopers, but I still have the snipers. I still have 4 snipers at least. There's no heavies on the stormtroopers, and there's only 1 medic. So we've dropped a medic, dropped some heavies, at least for a portable scanner to put onto Palpatine. The IRG have tenacity this time, so they actually have a little upgrade. And then you do have Cad Bane with situational awareness, up close and personal, and electro gauntlets. Mostly being because, I mean, if you wanted to, you could take up close and personal away and put, comms relay on him. Or if you wanted to take away the portable scanner and put comms relay on him, that's up to you, honestly. But yeah, the reason I have Cad in here, not Bosk, is because maybe if you can use Cad's 3-pip and divulge that, you can kind of alleviate some of the pressure off of Emperor Palpatine and the Royal Guards by Cad Bane being kind of an immediate threat that your opponent has to get rid of. And then that kind of gives you the chance to move Palpatine up for a little bit for 2 rounds, maybe before Cad Bane dies, and then use burst of speed to get in and hopefully do as much damage as possible with his attack. That's a way to do it. I've seen lots of, Palpatine and Bosk lists. So if you want to, you can probably check those out, and I'm sure we can make one. Like I said, I have a fascination with Iden. This is only 9 activations, but it's fun to me. So yeah, force barrier, battle meditation, and anger. So because you're trying to get him in, maybe you don't want battle meditation and you wanted something else, but I figured battle meditation would be good to give Iden Versio, if she infiltrates, give her an order with that, and or instead of on Palpatine's 2-pip giving him the order, I give it to Iden Versio because she's probably gonna be closer with infiltrate. She's still decked out the way I like her to be decked out with ID10 and all of the stuff. You don't have to have it like that. You can take away some of those if you wanted to. That's up to you. I have Inferno Squad with offensive push, and then I have the IRG that's always going to have an order with protector on there for Palpatine. And then I've got 2 sniper strike teams, so at least 3 snipers instead of 4. So that's still okay, but technically Iden can still be a sniper. So you would still have your 4 snipers instead of 5. But yeah. Now with this one, there's still 2 medics. Okay, so we don't have any heavies, but we have 2 medics again to make sure they're helping Palpatine get in, since he doesn't have burst of speed or anything. So that way he's healed. And then since the IRG are always going to have an order with Aiden's Tactical Strike, Aiden's Tactical Strike just says when Aiden Versio or a friendly Special Forces unit that has a face-up order token activates. It doesn't say given in order through this card. It just says when a friendly Special Forces unit activates with a face-up order token, it can reduce its maximum speed down to 1. And if it does, it'll gain steady and tactical, meaning that, if you play that card, you're going to give Aiden, Inferno, and both strike teams the order. But then with Emperor Palpatine, he's going to go ahead and entourage his IRG. So the IRG is going to have a face-up order token. Now, when you do this, you can use the IRG also with that. The other way to do that is, in my opinion, is to have Krennic and to be able to entourage his Death Troopers, because the Death Troopers aren't entourage, so they're not going to count towards the max Special Forces units. So now you're going to be able to, again, do the same thing, and then you'll have 4 Special Forces units that you'll be able to use Tac Strike with. And that's, again, just because you already have a face-up order token with the IRG, and it's not pulling from the bag or anything. So in my opinion, I think that would work with this, which is really cool. And then the other way to do it, again, is him inside of, a transport. If you wanted him in a transport and him to be consistently protected, maybe you go with Palpatine. Let's go ahead and get our, close transport so he's never hit and he can get in full health like we want to for that his 1 pip. Then if you wanted the IRG, you could, but again, he's going to be in the lat, kind of getting in as fast as he can. And so either people are going to be shooting at the lat as much as possible. And if you have the IRG kind of trying to rush in, they might be trying to shoot at the IRG at the same time. And so you might only have like maybe 1 unit or 1 mini left out of the IRG before it gets and catches up to Palpatine. It's possible, but at least with Entourage, at range 1 to 2, you're still giving them a free order so they can kind of keep up and do whatever they need. If you wanted, we can kind of see what it's like. And with that one, since he's getting in, you can't use pulling the strings because you can't use actions when you're in a closed transport. So you wouldn't be able to pull the strings on anybody. And no one can share, or no one can, you can't, take a dodge or anything like that. You don't need to. And, because of that, we might not need medics until later. So if you can find a way to put on some medics, that would be good to have. And maybe we decide to go with, Stormtrooper. No, how about, a Stormtrooper, because they're going to probably be able to keep up with a little bit more so than the, a double speed 1 move is a little bit greater than a speed 2 move, and you're still going to be able to shoot. So that's why I think the Snowtroopers are going to be good for that with Dell to be able to keep up with the lat. If you wanted to, and you really wanted to get him in as fast as possible, you could probably go with the Imperial TIE Pilot. And with that, if you're getting him in close, maybe bunker busters or armor piercing would be good. I'm just doing that one for fun. Well, okay, so it's cheaper to probably do the high velocity. So I'd probably go with a high energy shells. Again, high velocity, so they can't spend any of their tokens. And it's critical 1, and you don't surge to offense. So that'll be very, very helpful. And if you're getting in there with the Imperial TIE Pilot, maybe use Comms Jammer, because then you can get in, jam up their comms, and let Palpatine get the heck out and start doing some damage. Sorry about that. And then since he's in there and all you're going to be doing is getting him straight into things, maybe anger, burst of speed, and force choke or force push. Force choke is going to be a little bit. Maybe if you didn't want burst of speed and you wanted force push, that would be good. I think force choke would be awesome. I don't know. Burst of speed, I feel like you're going to need an anger. You're really going to need force choke, just even doing more damage. And And so you're in a transport. If you're using the Imperial TIE Pilot to get him in ASAP, maybe a commanding presence would be good because the base of that, lat's going to be huge. So you're going to be able to give out those orders pretty well. And then with the IRG, maybe you go with the heavy. Let's see what he looks like with, tenacity. Can we put on a heavy here and boop, boop? Yeah. And so we might be able to go with at least another unit of stormtroopers. And there's 17 points left, so you won't be able to really do anything unless you did the HH-12, which honestly you probably could do. You can go with an Imperial officer. That would be good and give you the full 800 points. Or you don't have enough for a medic. Not that you're going to really use a medic because you're going to be using the lot to get Palpatine in, and you can use Del Miko to heal 2 wounds, essentially. Because I think it's capacity 1, repair 2, capacity 1, so you can repair 2 wounds 1 time off the lat, and that'll hopefully, really get in the lat, or really let the lat get in to your enemy lines and just drop Palpatine off. Again, it's not relentless or anything, and it is range 1 to 2, so you're still going to want to drop him into something. He can do melee with that weapon, but you're going to need burst of speed probably with that. And then once you do use burst of speed, he's going to be sitting duck, even though he can use his range 1 to 2. I think people are probably going to want to stay back anyway. I don't know. That's all just I wind up. People didn't want to come anywhere near him. But this is 9 activations with, heavies for the most part, except for your storms. So that way, when you are trying to rush the lat in, you do have something. Now you don't. Now maybe you get rid of. We have 6 cores, so maybe we get rid of 1, 2, and we get rid of the stormtroopers, and we go in with some strike teams. Again, giving yourself Pierce. Yeah, you might be able to even now. That's 39 points. You wouldn't be able to really do anything else. 39. Oh, well, 40. You're 1 point. It's only just 1 point where we can have 10 activations. Oh, man, with Emperor Palpatine in a lat. And that would be the worst thing ever. Maybe you just have to get rid of either, comms jammer or maybe you go with Governor Price. Nah. And you're already at, the lowest force stuff you can have on there. Oh, yeah. So maybe you just get rid of comms jammer, give yourself a few extra points to kind of have a bid. But you've got your 4 snipers. You've got a range 1 to 4 here, range 1 to 4, 2 to 4 with your mortar. Your storms are just kind of maybe doing whatever they need to do. And then your transport with the TIE pilot is getting Emperor Palpatine in there as soon as possible. I don't know how well this list would actually do because, again, getting Palpatine in very, very fast means your leader is about to die pretty fast. So, yeah, if, maybe we change out that stormtrooper for a just regular Imperial officer. Kind of help out your shores and your snow. Maybe even help the Royal Guard out if they need to, or your strike teams. Yeah, your snipers, making sure you're giving an aim to Del Miko. That'd be nice. Del Miko at least surges. But yeah, all right, guys, that's really it. Palpatine's got some cool command cards. You got to keep him alive. He's got the double rainbow, range 1 to 2, and melee. I think he's just kind of hard to use, and he's kind of not a support unit because he's got great attack cards with his 1 pip, I should say. And he's got a pretty good attack, but yeah, it's hard to get him in close. He's very, very slow still, kind of expensive. He doesn't have very many cool keywords that's going to help except pulling the strings and, immune to pierce. Master of the Force 2 is good, but that's all that you really can put on him too. So there's nothing wrong with that. It's just he's going to be a person you kind of keep in the back unless you just try to get him up front, and which I don't highly recommend. But having him at least in a lap for a little bit and keeping him alive a little bit longer would be good. Yeah, but I like the first lists better, so I'm going to leave one down below or leave a few down below. with him. So that way you guys can get like a, if you wanted to change anything, you can. I like this one with Palpatine by himself at the 10 activations. Everything's, fully stocked. You've got 2 medics still. You've got 2 T-21Bs. You've got 4 snipers, and you've got, at least the ARG. Lots of ways to put, surges and protection out. So yeah, that's how I would play him, because this is going to take, pulling the strings to your advantage because you can use it since he's not in a closed transport. Force guidance and force barrier. He's got master of the force too, so he's always going to be giving out some surge tokens to either the IRG or whoever needs it. Maybe your snipers, like I said, and then with battle meditation, give out your order whenever you need to whoever you need to. All right, so let's try to go over some of the objectives and stuff that would be good with Palpatine. So breakthrough, probably not the best at all. You're probably always going to want to discard that as much as possible. Intercept the transmissions, that wouldn't be that bad because you're probably going to be able to keep a really good control over 2 different, what are they? Just, wow, I can't even talk. Just the transmissions, the transmitters. So basically you have 3 that he'd be really good at that. And if we look at even deployment, if you are red player, it doesn't really matter right now, unless you were to take points off and maybe you took off. No, that's really hard. You'd probably have to go down instead of battle meditation. Maybe you'd have to go with, his 3 pip to get a bid. And that's only a 2-point bid. So you're probably not looking at much. And even if you did have a bid with him, really the best objectives that are good are probably intercept the transmissions, key positions for sure, recover the supplies, maybe with the Iden one, or yeah, I don't know, probably I wouldn't necessarily go recover the supplies. Sabotage the moisture evaporators would be good because they're in the back. And then hostage exchange, you have a mortar and snow troopers, so it wouldn't be the worst. I think it would be okay because ain't no one getting close to your hostage if you were to get close to your deployment zone with your own hostage and have Palpatine kind of, help contend that. And then your snipers could probably go after the hostage unit as much as possible. So you do have that. Bombing run, probably not the greatest idea ever. And then payload. Payload wouldn't be that bad because, again, you can clump up and you have long range. So I can see that being an advantage. Just I don't see bombing run being a really good advantage. Hostage exchange, okay. Sabotage, okay. And then key positions and intercept. Those are the 4 that I would definitely go with. And then if we had to look at the deployment, advanced positions, sure, that'd be great because, with hostage exchange, you're getting closer. With sabotage, you're getting closer. So you only have to really make 1 move at that point to get to the evaporators. Key positions would be good because then you're already pretty much getting onto your key position. And then all you have to do is kind of either wait for them or just contend that middle. And then intercept transmissions, again, you're kind of already there. You can kind of set up, and then you might be able to just have to keep contending against that middle part. So that wouldn't be the worst. Battle lines, it's hard for me to think about that because in battle lines, you only have 1 hero. You can't really spread out at all. You have to kind of clump together. So it's easier for you to get flanked with the longer lines. So that's why I kind of stay away from it for the most part, unless I have multiple units or a bounty and or secret mission. Disarray, I probably wouldn't do because you really don't have that many commanders. You only have 1 commander. So trying to split up your force would not be that great of an idea. If, it comes across, you might not want it. And maybe you try to deploy your strike teams over there in at least 1. So that wouldn't be the worst. But then again, it's just hard. It's hard to pick that. But yeah, you could put your snipers in one or the other. But I like when I have 2 commanders playing that. But that's just me. And, a lot of people can play disarray. I've played disarray before with, 1 commander, and it kind of worked out, but didn't work out at the same time. So long march would be fine because you've got 4 range 5 snipers, and then you've got some other range 4, shooting gun line. So that wouldn't be the worst thing. And then with, your hostage exchange, it can go in. Now, if we were to look at, hostage exchange with this one, it's not that bad. I mean, the worst thing they're going to do is put you here. So you're either going to have to run, but you're going to be closer to the enemy at that point. So that's extremely hard. You can't really go up back or forth. They're not going to do that. So probably not the best. Long march, I mean, there's only one direction they can go. So, and if you're able to, it's probably not the best for hostage exchange. Sabotage, yeah, maybe you can put them in the middle and kind of rush and protect that area. And then key positions, obviously it's going to have to be outside of the deployment zone. So it's going to be kind of closer together. So it might be kind of tough. And then intercept the transmissions, you're already pretty much going to be there. So that's not bad. Major offensive, for sure, I'd just go with, because again, they're closer for at least your guys to get through. You don't have any vehicles, so rollout might not be the best, but you can still try to use it, because again, you're not spreading out this way. There's more, a little bit narrow of a way that they can deploy to you. So maybe you can bunch up a little bit easier. That's in my opinion. Hemmed in wouldn't be that bad if you do wind up being the blue player. Again, you can put your like moisture evaporators over here, or down here and down here, and then just try to, do what you can. Hostage exchange, it's probably going there, so you're running, and then they're gonna have to go this way, and you're pretty much right there on them. So that wouldn't be the worst. Key positions, it'll probably be over here in the middle, and then they might have one somewhere over there. It just kind of depends. Intercept the transmissions also wouldn't be that bad, but they're going to be closer to the outside ones, so that would be tough. Danger close, you do have Palpatine and the Royal Guards, so they would be doing really well with close range. So that wouldn't be the worst thing. So we kind of have to pick one more, and if I had to pick one, I'll just go with Long March, honestly, because the chances of at least you having long range stuff and trying to get them in, that would be fine. Conditions, clear conditions for sure. Hostile environment wouldn't be that bad, because you do have Courage 4 and you do have Inspiring Presence. So it would be, at least in this list, a good range. And then limited visibility, probably not the best idea, because you have really good long range. Minefield wouldn't be the worst. Rapid reinforcements, you have 10 activations, so that's pretty good. Sure, that wouldn't be the worst. Supply drop would be good. War Weary, since you do have Inspiring Presence, at least yours would be range 2. Theirs would have to be range 1, but they might have more commanders, so they might be able to spread out that, courage value. But it is worth a shot, since you are prepared for it, at least with that one. And then supply drop would also be good. Yeah, let's go with that. That's your 4. And boom, there you go, guys. So I think that's would be good, at least with this Palpatine list. Palpatine himself would be better at objectives where, they have to come to him because of him being slow, and he does have a range 1 to 2. And if you can at least do maybe sabotage, moisture evaporators, key positions, that would be good. Honestly, instead of that, how about we go with payload? I think that would be good, instead of intercept transmissions. With sabotage, you have that in the back, so they got to come to you if they, it's tied at that point. Key positions, you've got enough snipers to stay kind of covering the middle by being in somewhat of the back, or the mortar can stay in the back. The 2 mortars can stay and kind of contest that. That's what, 3 health each, so that's 6 health that you're keeping in the back, and you've got some other snipers that can keep, cover of the middle. Payload, you can group together a lot, so yeah, that's not bad. And again, hostage exchange, yeah. So I think that's honestly some of the better objectives for Palpatine. But all right, guys, yeah, if you haven't already, go ahead and head to the Discord and definitely check it out. Do what you can to, ask questions. And if you have specific questions, kind of like, so there was a comment about, coming out with more units, just talking about units and their strengths and weaknesses. And this is kind of the unit breakdowns kind of go over some of that in a way. And then another one was, they don't have 6 pikes. Well, a lot of, yeah, that's obvious. I'm trying to come out with just a good 9 and 10 strong list that would be good, fun. Now, and it's just people can play any of this on the TTS. So you can just, go to the Legion HQ, go down to the bottom and export TTS JSON, and then put it into your game and keep going. So it's a good way to test stuff out. Now, if you don't have those units that are listed or that many, then just kind of tell me what you do have in the Discord, and either me or other people will be able to help. And that it's mostly, I like talking about lists a lot because it's easy, and strategy building and talking is what I like a lot. I love playing. And so that's why I also have the TTS in there, and then rules just in case. And then painting and hobby, it's really cool and fun to see, what Emperor Atlantis, sorry, is, posting with the different things that he has as well. So yeah, go ahead and join that and let me know what you do have and the perimeters that you would be able to have when you're making a list, because it's the only units you have. I'll try to do what I can, and someone else will do what they can to do the same thing. And that literally is what happened not too long ago. Sorry guys, so if I were to go up a little bit over here, sorry, this is basically the list that he had. Now, I'm sure I could zoom in. Yeah, so it's basically, there's a way to tell me what you have and how many units you have, so we can come up with something for you. And if you haven't already, go ahead and head to theburnacademy.com and subscribe for 15 bucks a month. And it's, 3-month workout programs for you that you can do at any point in time, that you can schedule yourself, that you can do at your own pace. With coaching videos, there's videos for every exercise, there's descriptions for every exercise, ways for you to record all the progress, example meal plans just in case you want recipe ideas, and then just kind of ways to explain how to stay healthy and what you can do. And, it's important to keep your back healthy. It's important to stay strong, and this helps your immune system. If you're going to different conventions or, playing different tournaments, obviously there's a lot of people there and you're on your feet the whole time. So, strengthening your back, your legs, your immune system, that can all be done here. And then you can do them anywhere. You can do it Planet Fitness, any kind of gym that you'd like, and home. I've got home workouts as well. And there you go, guys. But I will catch y'all in the next video, and hopefully I was able to teach you guys something. And I will talk to you next time.